So from the title of the video, you already know what's about to go down. So basically, I figured that in light of everything that is going on in the world right now, that self-quarantine would be the perfect time to try this because peels are a process, as you will soon find out. So let's get started. So just a little background, I have tried a foot peel before, but it did literally almost nothing. And on top of that, I never really wanted to try it again because in case you aren't familiar, this process does take upwards of an entire week. And for most of us, getting a pedicure is just a one and done thing. So that's never really been a selling point to me because I just want to be done. I don't want to be sitting around with crusty feet for an entire week. Otherwise, what would be the freaking point? However, off the bat, I do give it 5 stars for the actual sock because in case you guys can't see, this has an inner lining that's made of what material I don't know, but it does really absorb and hold on to the liquid. Therefore, even though the sock is huge, that inner lining does kind of suction to your foot quite well and allow it to really absorb the solution. So I think that this part of it definitely makes it more effective. And as the instructions directed, I left this on for an hour. Actually, that's a lie. I left it on for a little bit longer, for about an hour and 15 minutes. So after my time was up, you can see that my foot is thoroughly saturated, which is a good sign, not just on the bottoms of the feet, but also on the top. All I did was put on some socks and call it a day. And the next morning, this is what my feet look like. And the minute I peeled that sock back, all I noticed was the ash. Also, it was pretty difficult to smoothly take my sock off because the surface was so rough. So at this point, my feet pretty much looked the same except for just much drier. Therefore, at this point, I wasn't seeing any actual peeling. I mean, I was seeing like flaking, but just basically an intensified version all over my foot versus just in my heavily calloused areas. Before I even took off my sock, I could just see it was about to be bad news. And boy, was I right. Do you see the flakes falling off? Oh God, that's so gross. And as you guys can see, when I take my sock off, the snow is just falling. In fact, I actually posted myself on Instagram when I started soaking my feet. And one of you told me in particular that not wearing socks is not an option. And oh my God, was she right. I like being barefoot, so this was a struggle. Like having to sleep with socks on is so much more difficult than it sounds. I just did nothing. I wore my socks, I went about my business, and I actually just waited. So what I didn't do right away was soak my feet because I was just curious as to see what would happen, which is definitely encouraged on the instructions, but also something I would just normally do anyway. And as you guys know, I would normally go for an Epsom salt soak. However, because I was testing this product, I wanted to see what it can do and only it. Therefore, I only soaked in warm water and sometimes I added a few drops of Castile soap. And this is when the magic happened. In fact, this was so nasty that I almost didn't upload this video. That is so gross. And I don't know if you can tell, but like, it's not doing a whole bunch for the heavily calloused areas, like, because it just is peeling these very thin areas. And even the skin on the tops of my toes around my nail bed was actually starting to peel. I am so tempted to peel this right now, but I'm just gonna put on some socks and call it a night. So all I did after soaking was just pat my feet dry lightly, no rubbing, walked over to my bed and put some socks on. However, that little tiptoe was enough to really disturb the skin and lift it even more. So when I actually sat on my bed, I snapped these pictures, and this is where I was really disgusted with myself, but I just sucked it up, put my socks on and just went to bed. And the next morning, this is what my feet looked like, which was just a dry version of exactly what my foot looked like the day before. However, again, the snow just fell, but this time it was full-blown flakes. And that is why you want to wear socks, because otherwise all of that is going to be all over your bed sheets and anywhere you walk through your house. And the one thing that I was really surprised by during this process was how much of my skin was actually peeling around my nail beds, like around my toes. Because as you guys may have seen in my previous videos, I go in with the cuticle nippers, not so much because I'm trimming the cuticles, but because I'm actually getting a lot of the dead skin that's growing around that area. And you can really see it here, like especially in the pattern or the way that my skin is peeling. So for those who are really reserved about me using the cuticle nippers in those areas and don't agree with it, this is why. So the only thing that I've added is some Castile soap. So again, I went to soak my feet in warm water. And this was the result. But instead of doing nothing, I attempted to actually coerce the skin off of my foot. Since I wasn't really prepared at this point for what to expect, I didn't have anything near me, so I just kind of used my nail. And I also just used my hands to really kind of rub in circular motions to get that skin to fall right off because it's already so close. I promise this is not a sound effect. Look, like, it just still wasn't quite doing it. So after massaging off all of the dead skin, I was still left with quite a considerable layer of callousing in my usual areas. My foot is very soft in areas that it is normally soft, but as you guys can see, I still have my usual calluses in the suspected areas. You can see the thickness, like all that is callus. Still some work to do. Still all of the usual work to do, to be honest. So I decided to just give it one more day to see if anything else would come off. I put my socks back on, and then the following day, I soaked my feet again. After that, I massaged my feet. I used a washcloth, just a regular washcloth, none of my textured ones, because again, I wanted to see what the peel was doing, and I didn't want to affect the results by using any other product. And my final determination was what I had suspected on the previous day, that this peel is going to eradicate thin layers of skin. However, if you have moderate to severe calluses like I do, this is only going to get rid of a few layers and not eliminate the entire thing. So do I recommend this product? Yes, I actually do. Because as some of you guys mentioned, you may not have as much agility in your ankles and have a hard time reaching them. So if you want soft, smooth results, you could do a peel and then follow up with something like a bristled brush. I've linked this one because I think that the curved shape would make it easier for reaching your feet and actually getting off the skin as it starts to peel, because as you saw, a towel just won't do it. You could also use a textured washcloth like the ones that I talk about in all of my exfoliating videos. So everything that I'm using in this video and everything that I recommend, I will put in the link down below. As some of you have requested, I've listed everything on one page so that you don't have to click multiple times. And so I hope this has been helpful for you guys. If it was, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Bye.